How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence. On today's episode, my heart is beating through my chest. Today, I am going to tell a very personal story about my situation, and I hope that y'all can relate, maybe. But even if you don't, I think it's something that I feel like I need to share directly from the heart. And yeah, honestly, I'm just going to kind of get right into it. But really what I'm going to go over is really the story, what happened, why I'm feeling the way that I am, and maybe the lessons that I learned, how I can get better, how I plan on moving forward. And then I'll just summarize at the end. So, gosh, I almost don't really want to do this. I think it's going to be very hard for me to share these things because it's really vulnerable, but it's very real. And, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. So, as y'all know, I've been no contact with the long distance situation for about 2.5 weeks now, since I think she last called me before. And the last phone call we had prior to this was she was calling me. And I said, respectfully, this is too hard for me to talk to you on the phone. I can't just be your friend. And I stopped. So she didn't call me again. Ever since then, originally first week, 2 weeks, I was doing good. I felt really good. I was in my healthy habits. I was spending my time the way I wanted to. And I think last week I also mentioned how I had an opportunity that I was supposed to be back in New York this upcoming week. So maybe I think there was a part of me that was like, you know what, let me just put it aside for right now. And then, if I make it to New York in July, fuck it, I'll have an opportunity to see her, because generally this has been the core of the issue that we've been having, right? Which is I feel like I want to see her maybe not creating that time for me. And then post, if you guys listen to Boys Lie, the episode where I, essentially broke it off with her. But before I broke it off, I went to a concert and I slept with another girl. I feel like ever since that moment, I think there's been a certain amount of fear that's been put into the relationship. But ever since then, we've still been in contact pretty frequently. Definitely had our moments where we've been hot and cold. Me stopping the talking, her continuing to call me. And, there's been moments where I was doing good and I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm good. I don't want this relationship. And then she calls me and I'm back on the hook, and vice versa. There's been moments where she's definitely let it go and I've called her and brought things back. So a lot of trials and tribulations in this relationship, very difficult to begin with, but let me get to the point. So this week, right, we're on about 2.5 weeks of no contact. I finally am starting to really feel it again. You know what I'm saying? Just little feelings of just first off, I see her watching all of my stories and it's starting to bug me. It's starting to get to me a little bit, because the hard part about being somebody that is an influencer or whatever the fuck, I'm a creator, right? This is my aspiration, is to come online and share myself so openly and so honestly. When I'm going through personal problems, it's really difficult because I really can't hide from it. You know what I'm saying? My job, in a way, and not my job, but honestly, my calling in life is to show up and be the most authentic version of myself as much as I possibly can online. Because that's the thing is I feel like there's a lot of people that, they're online, but they're making memes or they're making funny videos, which is cool. I do that too. But I think the part that brings my content to life and something that I want to share with the world, because I truly feel like that is the key to happiness and success in life, is just truly being your authentic self. And I want to show people to not be afraid of their emotions and these things. But the hard part about that is when you're going through a no contact situation, and that's the thing is we're no contact, not because I hate her. We're going no contact because I haven't seen her, and I'm pushing her because I want to see her in person, and I want to make things work. And I want to try to develop something in this relationship. So obviously, again, we go no contact, but in that time, obviously, I still care. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we're not talking, but I think about her every day. And, and I know that she feels the same way about me. I obviously, again, this last time around when we had gone no contact, it was a little different because I told her, we got into 2 fights or whatever it was, 2 days in a row over some just like little BS. And I'm going to get to some of the value differences that we had, but sense of humor, I think, is one of them. We got into like some little spats over just comments that were made or just me pushing her buttons, but also her being very sensitive to my sarcasm. And I hit a point where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Oh, like, we're just, I love talking to you, right? Like, it's cool. And I love just like our relationship in that way. But right now, when I'm trying to build towards something for my future, if the only thing that we have is the phone, and now we're arguing over the phone, you're unhappy, I'm unhappy, what are we doing exactly? And obviously, again, when you're after like 2 days of high tension, it's easy to just call it quits. And obviously she didn't want to. I mean, she, understood mutually at that point, but she didn't want to. She calls me like 4 days in a row after that, trying to keep engaging with me. Obviously I shut that down. I'm like, this is too hard. I can't, you know what I'm saying? What's the point? If I'm not seeing you and we're fighting, like, what are we doing? And I was just like, all right, maybe I'll see her in July. Anyways, this week comes. I just get hit with the biggest wave of anxiety. I listen, I'm doing everything. Like, I journaled, I was walking, I was writing my affirmations, I was writing my goals, I was focused on my work. If I wasn't feeling like doing something, I was shifting over and doing something else. I'm telling you, I was doing everything. And yesterday, I just couldn't stop. What was authentically underneath just had to come out. It had to come out. I was calling all my friends. I called like 4 friends in a row. I was talking on the phone from like 4 o'clock to 10. Just like telling people, yo, talk me off this ledge. Help me not say something. I want to stay no contact. I don't want to break this. I understand that it's uncomfortable, but it's the right thing to do. So I'm sitting there at night. I'm just like talking to my last friend of the day. And he turns around and he tells me, he's like, Chris, he's like, bro, you don't stop talking about this girl. He's like, with the amount that you just talk about her, like, you just need to say something at this point. And I was like, fuck it. Call her. First off, it's the middle of the night. It's 10 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock hers. I call her twice and she doesn't answer. And then I leave her a voicemail. Well, her phone's on Do Not Disturb. She calls me back at 3 a.m. her time. I don't answer. I call her back, I think at like 5 a.m. And then she calls me back at 6 a.m. and I answer. That's 3 a.m. my time. And to be honest, I just tell her how I was feeling. And honestly, I also sent her a voice note too. And I let her know. And I was like, I spend a lot of time working and I've blamed you for wasting my time a lot and taking me away from my work. But when it really comes down to it, like, I only want to spend all that time with you. And that's been the hardest part about this whole situation is all I've wanted to do this entire time that we've been in this relationship was see her. And we're long distance and that makes it hard, Initially when we first started, right, like December, I was there, right, in New York, extended my trip. She came to see me in January. Tension started to build into February because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this girl really has no time to see me, and I get it. Listen, we're both busy. We're across the universe. She's a new nurse, didn't have a lot of flexibility. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on her to come see me. She's prioritizing, her family, her friends, and understandably so. It's the beginning of the relationship. But honestly, I'm pushing and I'm realizing, I'm like, why is it so hard to get her to want to like spend more time with me? And I understand that she had a very limited amount, but even early on in the relationship, January and February, it just kind of felt like I was like pulling her and pushing her to make those moves. And I got frustrated with it because in January and February, I only saw her 2 days out of each month. And it hit that point for me where I'm like, yo, I got a business to run. Like, I don't want to just do only long distance. And I was coming off of 4 long distance relationships prior to this. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on her to see me and do things and make it happen. Ultimately, we get to the place of like, all right, maybe I'll come see you in March. March rolls around. I start feeling to myself, I'm like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to be with this person? Like I only see her 2 days a month. I'm like, she's great. The relationship is great. When I do see her, like we really do have a good vibe. You know, there's other things that happen. She had a little deleting text message moment the second time she came to see me, which made the trust a little hard too. But yeah, then March happens, right? Again, Boys Lie, the episode, the podcast. And I was supposed to potentially go there and book a trip there. And instead of booking a trip there, I'm like breaking up with her because I don't want to do this. I'm like, do I really want to do a long distance relationship? No, it doesn't really suit my lifestyle. I'm trying to be a famous creator. I'm trying to do all these things. This doesn't suit me. And I'm picking work over my relationships. I go out. I'm like, all right, this relationship's already over. I hook up with some other girl. And I know that hurt her. And after that moment, like, things shifted. So after that moment, I made the podcast. I owned up and I was just like, all right, I fucked up. Like, it is what it is. I guess the relationship was already ending and this is why I did it. And that's what I said. But ultimately what I didn't recognize is like how much I genuinely still cared about her. And to be honest, here's what really happened. We end up going no contact at that point after this whole incident with the girl. And I'm not joking. This girl doesn't stop. She calls me constantly. I literally, I'm not joking. The first time we went no contact, I didn't call her once. Not once. She's trying to do everything to stay in my life. Stay involved. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, like this girl fucking cares about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this girl fucking loves me. Like the fact that she's going to like do all that just to like try to keep me around, like she must be special. And you know, during that time, there was a long time where we probably weren't together. And then we kind of got back together for a little bit. And then I started asking her, I'm like, yo, are you going to move here? Like first, that was the first conversation where I'm pushing this like whole idea of like, are you going to fucking move here? Like, what's going to happen? Like, if you're not going to move here, like, I don't want to do this. I'm putting all this pressure on her to come here. And she's not budging on that. And then we ultimately separate again. Then, you know, obviously again, more no contact. At this point, I went in, went out, and I was with some other people too. And again, I'm posting all this stuff on social media. All this stuff is there. You can go back, listen to the podcast. You can go watch my videos. So the hard part is during all of this turmoil and friction where, to be honest, if this was another person, right, we're not even technically dating at the time that me and the girl hook up, bro. And she doesn't know about any of this. Honestly, ignorance is bliss. But because I have all my shit on here, and to be honest, I'm just an honest person. And maybe to a fault, honestly. Because my honesty ends up destroying a lot of the trust in the relationship. That sounds weird, right? Like honesty destroying trust, but maybe some things are better unsaid and left alone. And again, if she doesn't know these other people or these other information where I'm spewing my bullshit online, you know, obviously she's getting ideas about who I am and what I'm doing and how I'm operating or how I'm feeling. But really underneath the social media, there's a real fucking person here that cares so much and that is so different in a lot of ways than sometimes the stuff that I'm putting out there. And I wish I could show my entire self. I wish I could just be fully exact. I wish everybody knew exactly who I was online. Because I think if they got to know the guy that sits in this chair on a 24/7 hour basis, listen, I'm not fucking perfect. You know, I could be egotistical sometimes. I could be selfish sometimes. But I fucking try my hardest to be an honest person, to be a good person. I am so integritous. If I say I'm going to do something, I do my fucking best, everything in my power to make sure it happens. When I set my mind to something, I fucking go after it. I care about people a lot. I care about the people I work with. I care about my friends. I care about my family. Sometimes I'm not perfect, but I know how deeply I care and I know how deeply I'm willing to put in effort for these people. And sometimes when you see the person online that's just like looking all woo woo, like, oh, he's fucking, or he knows how to fuck, or saying some fucking douchey, toxic bullshit, like that doesn't tell the full story. Like, yo, to be honest, like I just want love. Like, and I want to give love. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, can I be like that fun, like energetic, dark side, dominant guy? Yes. Do I go out? Can I do some drugs or whatever and like have a good time? Yeah. But to be honest, that's not the real me. The real me, like on a day-to-day basis, is like focused, is not doing those substances, not fucking around that much, really focused. And here's the thing, I'm not going to over-explain who I am because I think the people that have been rocking with me for a long time know the deal. My whole point is when you put all this shit online, like it obviously gives people a portrayal of who you are without really understanding exactly the way that you're feeling underneath. So you add that in and it's a whole concoction of bullshit. It is. And I understand a lot of the reasons that this girl has a little bit of hesitation when it comes to me. So after this time, we kind of get back together on the hook. This second to last time that we get back, I'm the one that comes back and says to her, okay, I'm going to give you the time, but I do really want to see you. The need that I need to be met is I want to spend time with you. She understands that. She takes that in. I even tell her, like, the reason we fight sometimes and the resentment I have is because I just don't see you. That's it. And that's what's hard for me. It's like, I don't know how this relationship really would be had this distance not been here. Because I felt that when we were together in those times, and again, it was very few, so I guess I don't really know, right? This could also be a romanticization of the relationship. And I'm sure it is in a lot of ways. But I just told her, I was like, listen, I need to see you. You know what I'm saying? And she understood that. And to be honest, for like a month, I was just playing good boy and I was like not bringing up hanging out and we were doing great. Every day was pretty golden. You know, little things, tiffs here and there, but really for the most part, good. And then again, I go out and this is going to be one of my lessons learned again, going out, doing Molly, have a giant come down. My resentment is so large because I'm like, I just want to see you. And now we're a month into it. And now I'm like, yo, we still haven't made plans. I told you I want to come there and you still don't want to give me a date or a time. And then that turned into, oh, well, I just don't want you to stay at my house. Like, I just don't really know. Maybe I'm down if you were just here. So we essentially went from, if you start off at the beginning, from her coming to see me to me supposed to go there, but then I didn't. Me pressuring her to want to move to Arizona. Me then just trying to get her to hang out one time in New York. And then it was like, okay, but now I can't stay over. Okay, but now I don't want to have sex. And mind you, I want to say something. This last month that we were talking where it was good, and like I said, I was just like, all right, I'm like, okay, you need consistency. I'm going to show you some consistency. We're on FaceTime fucking every day. Point blank. We are. She's telling me she loves me. She's telling me she wants to get married to me. She's telling me she wants to have kids with me. And to be honest, I feel like I believed it. So what's really confusing is this girl's willing to call me and treat me like this relationship. Literally all of her free time, she wanted to just spend talking to me. That's why I know it's not even shady at all, because homegirl was calling me every moment of the day. But then when it came down to like making a plan to see each other, she was balking. She wasn't following through. And it's the weirdest thing, you know, because I just would assume if you really love somebody and you care about somebody, you'd want to see them. But I guess let me get to the point. So this is where we get to the point of, all right, now I'm starting to freak out. I'm having resentments. And then I'm like, okay, fuck it. We'll just see each other in July. And then we start having the little tiffs again. And then I go no contact. And again, this is where I get to today. So now I have all this resentment. I'm talking to my friend late at night. Remember, I talked to 5 different friends, resentment's built. I mean, the anxiety is building so large in my chest that I'm like, I got to call her. So we get on the phone. We play phone tag for a little bit. And this is how this phone call goes. So this is 3:00 in the morning, my time. I turn around and I tell her, I'm like, listen, like, yo, I try to bury the feelings. I try to push through the discomfort. It always comes back to me thinking about like, what if? And it turns into us talking about some of the previous arguments. Like we start talking about how our sense of humor doesn't really align. Like having some of those fights were caused because like I'm more sarcastic in nature and she's more sensitive in nature. And we kind of like, there's little moments where she kind of gets agitated very fast. And then because I see she's a little agitated, I dig in a little bit. So our personalities are in opposition in that point. Truly, that's a fact. If we were to be together, I'd have to live with that. And it's weird because when I was thinking during this no contact period, that was one thing I thought about. I was like, you know what? Like this girl isn't perfect. You know, we do have this value difference as well as her religion. She's a little bit more religious than I am. I believe in God, but she's like, you know, heavily Catholic, and very practicing, and is even a little bit weird about premarital sex. But with that being said, we like start hashing all those things out. And I just like turn around. I'm like, listen, like I care about you a lot. And she's like, I care about you a lot. And I was like, the only way for us to really do something is for me to see you. I want to see you. And she's like, you know, I just have hesitation. I just don't know if I want to start again. I was like, I understand. I was like, you tell me you care about me and that you want, like you like a lot. You tell me you love me. But I also understand the hesitation, right? To be honest, like sleeping with that other girl early in the relationship, yeah, that fucks the trust up. Being so hot and cold, yeah, that fucks the trust up. And then the third thing is just like, I don't think that she wants to take the risk to jumping in with me, knowing that if she did that, how would that look if I hurt her again? And not just how it would look if I had hurt her again, but actually even hurting her again. And I think when you take all that like conglomerate, she has this fear around me and seeing me and sleeping with me because she doesn't want to follow through. So here's the thing, like I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at her for that. I understand that. But I turned around and I said to her, yo, listen, like, I do love you. Like, I would consider moving back to New York for you. I care that much. But I was like, in order for us to do this, you need to jump. And she turns around and she's like, you know, I'm torn because I care. But I think my hesitation is too strong. And then she even talks about, like, we started talking a little bit about me going there. I was like, listen, like, we don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I don't want to have sex. I said, that's fine. And I said, okay, what about then? And she's like, I'm still a little hesitant. And that's what really made me not understand. You're so willing to call me every single day. Call me 4 times in a row. Called me all the time. Tell me you love me. But when I tell you I want to come there just to even see you, just to spend time with you, just to even just hang out, and maybe I understand because maybe that will lead to sex and I guess that's scary, or it might rehash the whole relationship, which is also scary. So again, there's no disrespect to what I'm saying, but I just know the things that, like, when I love somebody, like, yo, I'm willing to do whatever. Like, look at me right now. I'm telling you about to fucking move. I know the things that I would do. And I said to her so point blank. I was like, I know the man I am. I know what I'm willing to give you. And I just know that if that feeling was truly reciprocated and if she loved me in the way that I loved her, she'd show up for me. She'd give it a try. She wouldn't let fear stop her from doing that. And honestly, I'm not going to sit here. And again, there's no blame to that, right? She's got to make the choices that are best suited with her. And to be honest, let's be honest. Let's just keep it real here. I'm coming to her and saying this after 2.5 weeks of no contact, where I told her we're not in alignment. This isn't working. I don't like this. But the whole problem that I'm having is like the only reason I'm saying that is because of the unwillingness to spend time with me. And it's really hard for me to understand that, knowing that you have spent hours, days talking to me and telling me how much you care. You know how hard it was to tell somebody, and in my life, I said this to her, I was like, yo, you're the first person I've genuinely loved. That was the first time I think I ever told a girl that like I genuinely am willing to be with them and make things work, regardless of the imperfections. And what's crazy is, and just, it's wild. It's like, she didn't want to do it. And it's difficult because I was the one who was running away majority of the time. And that's usually how it works for most avoidance. You hold people at a distance. You create excuses. Eventually the other person sees the mistrust and they start to act funny. They start to be in fear. And you just never get back on the same page. The vulnerability never comes back. The same energy never comes back. And so I feel like that's some of the lessons that I got to learn from this situation. There's like a couple big ones for me. Like I got to take major accountability for the fact that like I brought somebody else into this relationship. It's something that I'll never do ever again. When I find the right person, and anybody moving forward, to be honest, that I genuinely care about, like I'm not sleeping with other people. I just know how much that brings mistrust into the situation, and I'm done doing that because I've done it in a lot of my past relationships. And the other thing too is like, again, non-negotiables that were broken, right? We talk about this all the time. Values are so important. I don't want to do long distance. That brought major friction into the relationship. We are 3,000 miles away with both really tight schedules and very, very time-consuming jobs. The fact of the matter is we were trying to make a miracle happen. And we needed to be perfect and we weren't. So the other lesson learned is, non-negotiables are real. Like they're real. Like if there's a red flag in this situation, like, and we keep proceeding forward, like you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it later. And I thought we would that's what I'm trying to say is like, I tried to mend the distance way too late. And I was too vulnerable way too late, to be honest. And I just should have stuck to my values though. And even in the beginning, when we went no contact the first time, I guess I should have just stuck to my guns, knowing that I didn't want to do long distance. And that's the other thing that I'm going to realize is like the on and off is like, what is really your relationship? If you're on and off, there is something going on there. There's a problem. Right? You guys are not in alignment. But that's what's crazy is underneath all of these differences we had, right? The sense of humor, the religion, the distance. I have never had a feeling about somebody in my life so much than this person. And I really, truly believe that prior to these last 2 months or a month, I really believe that she felt the same way about me. And that's really fucking sad. And honestly, I'm just going to keep it real with you. Like I'm fucking heartbroken. Like I'm fucking sad. That shit hit me like a truck. I've never admitted those types of feelings to somebody in my life. And the fact that they didn't get reciprocated, that shit hurt. But it was the pain that I also needed. So this is also another really prime and big lesson from all of this is this. If I feel something, say it. Say it. Don't hold on to shit. If I'm feeling bad, say it. If I don't like something, say it. Fucking say it all. Because here's the truth. The last 3-4 weeks that I'm in no contact with this girl, like, yes, I guess I said what I wanted to say in those moments and I was frustrated. But to be honest, I'm not truly set free until it's all out of me. Until everything is off my chest, I cannot move forward. As much as I thought that I was going to be okay doing no contact again, the problem that we were having is me holding on to this fucking hope that if I see her, everything is going to align again. The fact that we haven't seen each other since February and we're talking about this shit and it's fucking July is crazy. You know what I'm saying? There has to be something there for somebody to care about somebody that they haven't even fucking seen. And I guess that's just the hardest part is like, yo, it doesn't matter when you know that there are differences. When you love somebody, you care. But that was my whole thing too, is like through all this bullshit, right? Like through the mistakes, and she wasn't perfect either, no doubt. I'm just like, yo, if you genuinely fucking loved me in return and you wanted that same thing, you wanted to have children with me, you wanted to walk down that aisle with me. And that's kind of a crazy statement being the fact that we've only seen each other December, January, February, you know? But I just felt, I don't think she would feel the same way. I think if we were in the same place, things would be different. But my whole point is, if you truly felt that way and you saw that potential, I just don't think you would throw it away. I just don't think that you would stop trying. And that's where I'm at. Is that, yeah, you know what? I fucked up. You know what? I sit up here and I tell you guys to follow your values. And that's the truth. The thing is, bro, our minds change. Our feelings change rapidly, constantly. I'm not perfect. But I just feel like if you care about something genuinely, you don't stop and you keep going. And here's the thing, she did try, but again, I feel like I'm realizing now is that what she was trying for and what she was keeping me around for was, to be honest, she was comfortable with the fact that I was distant because she could still talk to me and have that emotional relationship, but then she didn't have to have sex with me and it didn't actually have to turn real. And she enjoyed that type of relationship with me because she still was getting her needs met. Because she could still live her life and do her thing, be around her family, do whatever the fuck she wants, and she still has me. But that left me as a fucking prisoner, feeling resentment. But again, that's up to me to get my needs met. And that's why I spoke up and that's why I've gone no contact. And maybe we're just not truly aligned and she just leaned into that and she's all in and you know what? Good for her, I guess. Because I get it. We're not perfectly aligned in some ways. But I just feel like I know we could have worked through some of that. The things that were different, I don't think we're worlds away. I mean, literally we are worlds away. But I just don't, I feel like love has no bounds. It doesn't. If you care about something, you'll do the most. You will. And that's what I'm trying to say is like, it really comes down to that at the end of the day. And that's the thing. It's like no disrespect because I also understand that there had been things that have happened. I guess that's my answer. I guess that's it. I mean, you know, there was parts of her that was being like, oh, I just don't know. Like you've done this to me multiple times where you've told me no. And then the next week it changes. But to be honest, at least this time for me, I have so much more clarity. I'm like, number one, you're dating other people. And number two, you already said that you don't want to see me. I have got no option. I could love you like that so much and care for you so much. But the choice that you have left me is I got to just be on my own and focus on myself. And here's the thing. Next steps for me, I don't need to date somebody else. Like I'm in a place where I just cared about somebody deeply. And that's why I mean, it is what it is. You know, again, I respect her life and her decisions. But I just know with how much I cared, I can't just jump into something with somebody else. And I don't want to. Because that's the thing is like, I want to find somebody that genuinely fits in with me. And I want to take my time with that. I do want to build a friendship first. I don't care about sex. I really don't give a fuck. Like, yes, it's an important part of a relationship and I want to get to that point with somebody. But at the end of the day, it's like, bro, I know how to fuck. I know what it feels like. I've had variety. I don't need that anymore. I want one really great fucking person. And I know the way that I could show up for that person is so honest, so real, so loyal, so fucking in. I'm not fucking perfect. I'm not sitting here going to say I'm the fucking dream husband Jesus. But I just know the energy that I have, the emotional intelligence that I have. I know I can be a great person in a great relationship. I know it. And I'm going to do all the right things from this point on to get it. And what that means is only spending time with genuine connections, not fucking around with people just for fun, not being that same version of myself, not going out and doing drugs and drinking alcohol. Yeah, maybe every occasion, but even then, let's go. Bed at 10:30, waking up early, getting my shit done, taking care of business, going after the goals that are really meaningful for me. One thing I wrote down, so I was having a really tough day a couple days ago, and I did a walk outside, came home, journaled, and I asked myself, I said, what do you really want? I literally I just wrote the question down in a notebook, and I said, what do you really want? I wrote down 2 answers. I wrote down, I want to be a famous creator, and I wrote down, I want to have a family. I just want those 2 things. And maybe I got to work on the creator piece first and the family thing's going to come after. I think in some part of me, subconsciously, I wanted it to be this girl, even though maybe we weren't truly aligned. And that's probably just really the truth, because to be honest, I don't think we would be in this position or go hot and cold or whatever if we were genuinely meant to be together. But my feelings were still there. I had to try. And I'm happy that I did, because now a weight is lifted off me. It's no longer my responsibility of that choice. I know where I stand. I know how I feel. And I'm not fucking afraid to tell you that. I'm not afraid to tell you that I fucking love you. I'm not afraid to tell you that I cared about you immensely to the point that I would have done things that I don't think other people would have done. And maybe she needs to experience that. And guess what? I hope that somebody in life sees that and hears that and feels that, and somebody takes it and appreciates it and does jump with me and does take the leap, even if it's scary, even if I've made mistakes. Because I think eye to eye, man to man, I don't think there's anybody as real. I don't believe it. I'm hurt, but I'm also happy and I'm content with the fact that I was able to show up vulnerable, because to be honest, like, without me doing that, without me saying these things that I said and just being real and putting the ball in her court and just submitting myself to the idea of love, I would still be chasing it around. Keep thinking to myself, what if? Now there's no more what if. Now there's, all right, Chris, you shared yourself. It wasn't returned in the same way that you needed to be returned. And it, for valid reasons. And that's okay. It's time to pick my shit up and keep moving forward. And hopefully I just show up as a different energy next week. I'm sure it's going to be way different. The vibe is going to be different. I know it is, because now I have clarity that I did not have before. And this is the importance of also speaking up when you're feeling anxious as fuck. Like, bro, who cares? If somebody tells you fucking no, they're just not meant for you. That is okay. Yes, it's going to fucking suck dick. Does it hurt right now? Yeah, it fucking does. Am I going to have to take a few extra walks? Definitely. Am I going to have to journal a little bit extra? Yeah. Is my work going to slow down for a little bit? Definitely. But will I get my ass back up? Will I be that happy-go-lucky, fucking confident-ass motherfucker at some point? Yes, I fucking will. Yes, I will. Because I've done it before, and I'm do it again, and I'm going to trust myself. And I'm going to bet on myself, because I've never lost. I've never lost. What's meant for me will never miss me. And I got to take my lessons, and I got to get better in relationships. It's not her fault. We are 2 imperfect human beings trying to make something work. And when that happens, it's not her fault. It's not my fault. It's the situation, and it's 50-50. It's where can I get better, and where can she get better for her next relationship or her next venture. I'm going to be better. I'm going to show up better. I know what I have to offer. I know how I can be better. I know that if my habits are better, I'm going to attract that even better person for me, not egotistically, doesn't mean hotter, doesn't mean cooler, just different, just more aligned. Even after feeling all this resentment and not understanding and anger to her dating somebody else or to her just not wanting to see me after, in my opinion, telling me things that would make me feel like she would, I still have no hate. And it's still all love. Because I understand that she's operating the best that she fucking can too. And in a lot of ways, I didn't show up for her a lot of times. And in this life, you don't always get what you want. You get what you fucking need. And maybe we're not meant to be. Whether it's right now or maybe in the future, who knows where it's going to lead us. All I know is that my genuine self, my vulnerable self, my real self has never lied. I know the feelings that I have. I know the power that I have. And I know all of this is going to be the right move at some point. And having this clarity has felt so nice. That's what I'm trying to say. Fucking painful. But it's just like a Band-Aid getting ripped off, right? That initial sting, fuck, that shit hurt. I'm sitting on my couch, bro. It feels like I fucking got shot in the fucking chest with a shotgun. Hearing the girl you love tell you that she doesn't want to see you. That shit hurt. But after that moment of hurt, bro, there's peace. And I understand, like, even from her perspective, like, that's the thing is, like, these 2 weeks that I haven't been talking to her, she has been feeling more at peace. And for her, maybe it's me disturbing her peace again, right? If she takes me back and she lets me unravel again, to be honest, it might just be the right thing. And this is where it gets really hard, right? Between the head and the heart. The head is telling you run, and the heart is telling you to go back. This time, out of all the other times, I just chose to follow my heart. Maybe I should have listened to my head, huh? Although, again, it's just like, I feel like the heart doesn't lead you to a bad place. It's the pain that I needed to feel. It's the pain that I have avoided feeling in this entire relationship in the second half. But now it's here. And now I've accepted it. And I'm not fully done accepting it. I'm sure it'll take me a little bit of time. But I'll get back to myself. I know I'll feel good. And at that point, it's time to hit the ground running again. And do what I do best, which is showing up, reading, eating, delivering fucking fire-ass knowledge. Just trying to be as genuine and real and honest as possible. I don't really have anything else for you guys this week. I hope you have a great week. And I think if there's one thing you could take away from this is, like, if you're holding on to anything with anybody, you got a feeling, you got something you want to say, just go say it. Just go say it. What are you waiting for? The growth that you want is in the pain that you're avoiding. The clarity that you want is in the pain that you're avoiding. The peace that you want is in the pain that you're avoiding. Just keep going. That's one thing I learned from her. Bro, this girl never stopped calling me. When she wanted to, she called me. I might take that approach from now. I don't give a fuck about no contact anymore. If I feel something, I'm going to say it. I don't care. Because I realize that technique is so much more powerful. When you're just genuine and you're just real, yo, you hold all the cards. Because now she needs to sit with the decision. And I don't anymore. And that's okay. I have no regrets. All right. I love you guys. And I'll talk to you next week.